Right, I am back for a long overdue talk today with two of my favorite people, April and jaymatta from 5D Mystics. Now we're going to be talking about something that literally affects every single person at every stage of their life and any of their dreams or goals. But before we delve into manifestation, which is our subject matter for today, April and Jay, how are you doing? And let's go for ladies first.
Oh, thank you so much, Catherine. It is so awesome to be in the house with you. It's been a minute, and we're honored to just spend some time with you and get to enjoy your world as well. So thank you.
Love it. And how are you doing, Jay?
I'm doing great. It's this energy of manifestation, just to get the privilege to talk about it and help soul brothers and sisters along their journey in life is just the best thing in the world. So, it just constantly keeps you inspired. So, and we're really happy to do this with you. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, I really wanted to do this, and I really wanted to do a little series on it because what's very apparent when you're interacting with lots of people in day-to-day life and on different platforms is manifestation. First and foremost, I would say it's pretty misunderstood. There's a lot of misinformation around it. And secondly, it's one of these things that gets bandied out a lot, and it's so crucial to anyone for any aspect of their lives that they're looking and working on. So what I really wanted to do today is almost start today with going back to basics and really give people some practical tips about how they can get started. I'm noticing my video is a bit out of sync. I don't know why, but hopefully that will be okay. So let's get started in terms of what does manifestation mean to you two, and why is it something that we all need to know about?
I think the first thing is it is so misunderstood. And I think a lot of people think manifestation is like wishful thinking. If I just think it into reality, it's going to magically appear. And yes, visualization and your emotions play a huge part on it. But there's the biggest element that I think most people don't act on is the energy of acting and doing it. You need to, if you want a manifestation to come to reality, you got to put that energy behind you. You got to put whatever it is whatever your goal is, you have to actively work towards achieving that goal. And at the same time, you're visualizing it, you're feeling the energy, you're feeling the emotions, and you're going through those steps as well. But wishful thinking alone is just not gonna, at least I haven't seen it happen. I mean, when you get into the energy of manifestation, yes, there are things that you can literally think into creation, but you have to get in that energy first. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is start acting upon what it is that you want to bring into reality.
Catherine, also manifestation really is incumbent upon those people that really internalize that they are co-creator. So when you're co-creator, you manifest. If you're wishful, if you don't feel like are a co-creator, you're not really able to manifest successfully because you're throwing it out to an unknown. But when you internalize that and say, look, I can create this. I am the force behind this. I am the driving energy behind this. So manifestation takes mindset. So there's got to be a mindset element to it that really gets you to the point of where you manifest. So you're not just staring at a vision board 20 years later of something that never showed up, right? So there's things that you have to do. There's practical steps. And again, that really is taking part of the fact that we have to take ownership in that we are part of creation, which in theory means that we can co-create. So we see the trends with successful people that manifest what they want. They own it. They're like, this is their life. They're claiming it, and that's the attitude and energy you have to put into this.
I love it. I love that it's all coming back to energy. We talk a lot about the Asea Redox, which are high energy molecules. And I always joke when I was talking to Hunter Dean, they describe them as high energy, very reactive molecules. And I'm like, that's how my husband would describe me, high energy and very reactive.
Great.
But it's this aspect of energy. I want to really pull up on that a little bit because, again, it's something we band about a lot. But when people really grasp that everything is to do with energy, and as you were both saying, when you get into that energetic or vibrational state, whichever way you want to say it, and then get there and then. So talk us through some of your top tips about how people can be really honest about where they're at energetically or vibrationally now, and how they can start to shift that.
This is such an important subject because manifestation works both ways. So if you want to create your reality and create your dream life, you have to, there's no end if or buts about it. You have to raise your vibration. You have to raise your frequency. And if someone is in the constant mind frame of the victim mentality, or the woe is me, or constantly complaining, or their eating habits are really having an adverse effect on their life, their energy level, their vibration, and their frequency that they are attracting is going to attract what that is drawing. So it's, if you want to create this dream life, you can't create a dream life when you're constantly complaining. You cannot create a dream life when you're constantly eating and putting toxic food in your body. You're going to create your reality by the things that you're doing, and the people that you're around. So if you want to create your dream life, start connecting and coordinating and being around a center of influence who have the life that you already want. If you want this terrific life, but you're hanging around people that are smoking, that are drinking, that are complaining and kibitzing with you, and you're kibitzing back and forth, you're going to just create more of that type of energy. You couldn't have said it any better, Catherine. Everything is energy. Everything is energy. So if you're putting out, or you're hanging around the energy of that which is low vibration, that is exactly what you are going to manifest in your own reality.
You know, Catherine, I'm going to say something that's kind of controversial here, and I mean this with all respect for people out there that do this, and I think there's something to what I'm about to say, but I've chose not to live by these kind of guidelines. So, for example, it's a year of a dragon. It's a number 8. Well, why the hell do we just have one window to manifest the best time of our lives? Why can't it always be a year of a dragon? And why can't it always be a number 8? Why does the full moon have to be waxing only on a Wednesday on the 20th? And that's your opportune time. Why does Mercury have to be out of retrograde and don't do anything that? You see, there's all these things that
limitations.
Yeah, and I don't know if necessarily, I'm not going to get into the whole all those nefarious forces or whatever. It's people's belief systems, and do what you want to do. We made a conscious decision not to buy into any of that, and said, you know, if we align with the fact that Mercury's in retrograde, we'll be broke. You know, I mean, we'll never get anything. No, we'll never sign anything. Nothing will happen. But if we just power down,
seems to be in retrograde
or something like that, or there's always that opportune time, or, you know, it's coming, it's really close right now, take a deep breath, relax, it's on its way, it's done. You know what, it never went away. And that's the whole thing people have to realize when it comes to manifestation. Whatever is coming or didn't come or what, it never left us. You left it, if that makes sense. Meaning we left it, we walked away from it, we disconnected from that power of it. So I think when people get into manifestation, stay in the present moment, stay very focused. If you feel yourself drifting, I mean, one of the things that I used to do when I felt like myself drifting, if you would, I would definitely, or I felt myself getting into this whole negative mindset, which is very natural, very normal. So don't beat yourself up for it. I would go to someone else who had an issue, and I would talk to them about what their issue was, because it allowed me to take my own stuff out of my own way, get out of my own head.
I love it. So you've both touched on recognizing where you're at. And for me, this is absolutely crucial. And I find it quite exciting when, you know, everyone listening to this is going to have one area of their life at least that they're not satisfied with, that they'd like more, whether it's health, whether it's wealth, whether it's relationships, whether it's where you're living, whatever that might be. And all these are such opportunities. One of the things I hear all the time is that, well, I've tried it before, it doesn't work. How would you answer that one for people?
Try something else.
Looking back, yeah.
Try something else. If it's not working, try something else. And, you know, actually, this is a really great thing to talk about, because especially with entrepreneurs, and we've done it, let's say you are starting a business, any type of business, and you have this idea in your mind how it's going to turn out, and you keep moving forward and moving forward and moving forward because you're like, I'm going to crack this nut. But the universe is putting up these blocks, these doors that you seem to keep hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting. But you are in your mind, I'm going to break through it, break through it, break through it. When you know what, sometimes you have to take a step back and look at the entire big picture and look at things from a different perspective, because perhaps the universe is giving these or putting up these, I don't want to use the word blocks, but because they want you to take a different path.
Mm.
So from an entrepreneurial point of view, if you feel like you keep hitting the hammer and hitting the hammer and hitting the hammer and hitting the hammer and it ain't working, try something else. And you know what? If you put a lot of money into it, you gotta just step back and let that go, because there's a point in time that you have to stop the bleeding. So you're either going to keep feeding this energy that is not working, and that could be very, very, very costly, or you can cut the ties and take a detour. And you'll know right away whether or not it's the right thing, because when something is meant to be and you're living your true essence, your passion, there are no blocks in the road. It's like you just go, and then you go, and then you go, and you go, and you go. And then sometimes you have to take a pause and step back because you have to reevaluate, but you're not constantly hitting the door. That's when you know you're not on the right path. So stop trying to beat the door down, take a breather, take a moment back, reevaluate, maybe stop the bleeding, and then take the detour.
Another thing too is, when people say to me, well, I've tried that before, my response is, did you really? I mean, did you really? I mean, honestly, did you give it everything you got? Did you really give it everything you got? I mean, see, like getting back to the energy, like with our business, we've taken on the philosophy, if we celebrate our business, our business will celebrate us. So if we celebrate life, our life will celebrate us. If we have one foot in, maybe I'll tell everybody what I'm doing, maybe I won't. You didn't try it, because you had one foot in, one foot out. Let's be real, let's be pragmatic about it. And that's why things don't work. I mean, and we've been able to refine this art to the point where we know generally we're known within a week if something's working or not. Like we've got it down. We're like, oh, we're not doing the 90-day plan. No, I mean, we know if we're on the right track, we know pretty intuitively, instinctively, because we've created our and we've done it to that point. Not to say let's try something, not give it a chance, is because we focused in on our alignment with our frequency, Catherine, right? So just so we know that we're getting the right downloads, we're able to use discernment properly. We know when stuff's there. We just know when to stop and when to go. And sometimes, you have to cut your losses. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, it's money, it's energy. Just make more of it.
Make more of it.
Yeah.
And you've learned so much in the way. I love that so much, because I'm driving at this point home, because it affects so many people, where they think, look, my life hasn't worked out how I want it to be. It's not what I want to be. That's fantastic, because you have never been the person you are today, right here, right now. And someone explained it to me once. I thought it was the best analogy. Look, you buy a first-class ticket. You save up all your money and you buy a first-class ticket to go on holiday to Australia. It costs you a fortune, all your savings. And then the plane's going down, the plane's about to crash.
Right.
Well, you put your parachute on and you jump. You don't say, I've spent all this money on the ticket, I'm staying on the plane. And I think that's what life's like. It's like all a lesson, and money is just an energy. And if that one doesn't work out, you get on and you've learned more about whether the universe is giving you messages all the time about whether you are really in the energy or not. I mean, what you were saying about, 1 foot in or 1 foot out. Imagine if you've got a new partner, a new romantic partner, and they're the type that that your partner's not telling them, anyone else, that you exist. Well, that's a very clear sign that they're not all in.
Right.
That's what it's like in any aspect of our lives. Are you really all in it? And that's such good advice to anyone watching this. So someone's watching this and they're thinking, right, this is resonating with me. Where do you think they should start?
You want me to go?
Yeah.
So I think that first of all, they need to start to, number one is to forgive themselves for everything and forgive others for everything because it's already done, right? So you have to let go of that because that guilt, the shame maybe people feel in life, whatever they go through, listen, we all got it. Just let it go. You got to learn to release these things because that's baggage that'll throw you off your internal thing. Once you learn to realize and say that, okay, number one is that whatever I did or didn't do in my life that got me to where I'm at, you let that go. You have to learn to forgive yourself. You have to learn that, that was part of just what it is. And there's nothing that can be done about it other than you learn not to do it again and get better and celebrate the fact that you can do that. Forgive others. Don't hang on to that because when you have that energy of that, it's like a python, Catherine, and it'll constrain you. It'll restrict you. It won't let you channel. It won't let you get download. So number one thing I would say is just like, forgive my language, but let that shit go. It's done.
Yeah.
I mean, really, let it all go now. Now start from a nice 0 point place of neutrality, if you would. Now start from a clean place. So that's step one. Then I would say to really them is to, when you start to take a look at some manifestation or basic steps, like you were saying, is just you sometimes you physically have to put yourself in the place. For example, like when we want to level up, we moved. We moved
Yeah.
to a place where we know people level up. We know like the world we're in right now is people level up. The world we were in before was nice. It was great. It wasn't the level up we were looking at. So sometimes you just put yourself in there because you have to be in that energy. You have to be in that vibe. You can't be in a place of like, oh, you know what? I want hundreds of millions of dollars and everything I've ever wanted before, where, you're surrounded by an environment where like, where's my next paycheck coming from? It's a disconnect. It's a real thing. It's a real crazy phenomenon that's happening if you're not aligned with something, right? So I would really start to think about what your surroundings are, where you're at. There's a social media plays such a big part in this, right? Too, is a social media circle you're at. I mean, is that a good thing? Are you around people about complaining about how they what the banking system's doing to them? When is this what is it? I don't even know what to call it anymore. They come up with a different name every other day, but some sort of magical money debt solution that's going to wipe that out. Let's be pragmatic about it. You spent money. You got yourself
out of debt. If you're gonna get out of debt, it's because you got yourself out of debt. It's because you got
yourself out of debt. If someone waves a wand later on,
you got into debt, you put yourself in debt.
Yeah, create your own Gasara and take action with this thing. That's what I would say, but it takes a lot of practical action steps.
And I was thinking the same, very similar. Let go of what no longer serves you. And that is sometimes easier said than done, because a lot of times family members, close family members, the ones you love the most, are the ones that are literally bringing your energy down. Your best friends that you love dearly, that have been in your life since childhood, they may not be helping you raise your vibration and raise your frequency because their life is not at a high vibration. So the first thing I would say is you have to let go of what no longer serves your life purpose. It doesn't mean you have to forget about them. It doesn't mean you don't have to stop loving them. It just means that, you know what? Let me take a step back. Let me start rebuilding my life, and I have to put everything else on hold right now. A lot of people are going to say, well, Jesus, that sounds really selfish what I'm about to say. Yes, it does. And yes, it is. And this is the way it needs to be if you want to change your life. You have to put yourself first. You have to first love yourself. You cannot truly unconditionally love another if you do not unconditionally love yourself. Because you know what happens, Catherine? The things you don't like about yourself, you are going to take it out on the people you love the most. You will start nitpicking your relationships, whether it's with your children or your spouse. You will start nitpicking on them, and you will start finding everything wrong with them, or that you think is wrong with them, when in reality, it's really what's wrong with you, because you're a reflection of that other person. So when you're venting or regurgitating on someone else, you got to say, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Why am I doing this? Is it something within me that you triggered me to do or to say, and now I'm lashing it out on you? So until you unconditionally love yourself, it is impossible to unconditionally love another. So yes, you could say it's selfish, but it is what needs to be done. You must love yourself. You must take care of yourself first.
You know, it's like people want to say, "Oh, I want to give to the world." Well, you can't give from an empty cup. If you're broke, you can't give to nobody. You're of no good to anybody, right? Let's be realistic about that.
Literally.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's such an important point because there's so many people that do, but I think the biggest thing I see, and I'd love both your opinion on this, is people say, when this happens, then. And for me, every expert who's actually demonstrated that they can manifest, not just talked about it, but actually demonstrated they can do it, there's a consistent theme that we started off with, if get into a high vibration and then ask the universe. So it's never going to work if we're asking from a place of desperation, is it? So
no way.
No.
All you're going to do is create more of that energy. So if you are coming from a place of desperation, you're just going to create more desperation. And that is I think for so many people, that is the hardest thing, the hardest switch to flip. Because they think, oh God, please, 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 if you could just help me do X, Y, or Z. But when you're coming from that place of absolute desperation, remember, here's the whole thing in a nutshell. Like we said in the beginning, everything is energy. Everything is your frequency. So whatever energy or vibration or frequency level that you're at is exactly what you're going to magnetically attract back to you. So if you're in desperation, anxiety, depression, that's exactly what you're going to get more of. So how do you snap out of it? That's the first question. How do you take this moment, or it could be a day, a moment that you want to lash out and you're in depression. How do you snap out of it? The fastest way to snap yourself out of it is offer gratitude. Because it is impossible for your mind to be in a mode of anger and bitterness when I'm saying, thank you, Catherine, so much for doing X, Y, and Z for me. So take that bitterness inside and offer gratitude. That is how you will immediately shift your energy from a low vibration to a higher vibration.
You know, and getting back to what you said, like when this happens, I will, when this happens, I will. I mean, that stems from guilt. And what I mean by that is people are saying, when we all have everything, I will do something. When we, all of us collectively have everything, it's just not how it works. You know what I mean? There's certain people that are just by infinite design are just gonna manifest or do better than others. That's just what it is. And you're whether you call it predisposed or whether you learn the trait or whatever it's going to be. But there's certain people that will just start to take that action. So when people wait for something like this whole, like when it happens, that's them saying, okay, we're all going to prosper together. What are you going to do with yours? What are you going to do with yours? What are you going to do with yours? And you have 1 million people. What are you going to do with yours? And next thing you know, you have 1 million people. Well, what didn't happen to you? What didn't happen to you? Well, that sucked. I got scared. You know what I mean? All these things happen.
Yeah.
So, I think that people really need to take accountability and stock in themselves. Okay, the only way you can help others is if you help yourself. The pilot of a plane, using your analogy, it's good that he knows more than the rest. I mean, it's good that someone knows how to fly that plane, right? I mean, it is what it is. So you're going to have to be selfish. Okay. And if that's, and how you interpret what selfish means is it's up to you watching it. But that, and only then, is when you could be of service to humanity. You can't be the one sitting around and doing that. And, I see people, Catherine, they're often saying to others, well, I want to make $1 million, but they're asking someone who still is collecting, their unemployment, their advice on that. I want you to understand what a real disconnect that really is and this is real things that happen. Ask the people you want. If you really want something, take ownership with it. I was talking to a young lady the other day and I was like, she's like, I just want to do whatever helps everybody else. I'm like, well, how the hell are you going to get anywhere? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Seriously, you have to define yourself, exactly what you're going to do. Then you can have that. Look, we help a lot of people. The only reason we're able to help a lot of people is because we know how to help ourselves. So now we say,
Yeah.
this is how you help yourself. You see what I mean?
I think this is that leads beautifully on to my next question. So one of the things, again, I see come out a lot for people is people not being very clear about what they want, but also mixing the clear desire, energy, frequency, feeling into it with getting stuck into the how. So can you talk me through how that works for you? So if you two individually or together are really going to go to manifest something, how do you go about being really clear about what that is? And how does the not then micromanaging the process fit into manifestation?
This is such a great question. For me personally, you have to start listening and trusting and believing in your intuition. And the more that you start trusting your intuition, the clearer the messages from the divine, whatever you want to call that energy source, your higher self, God, creator, whatever that is to you, the clearer those messages will become, and they won't be so muddy. Now, when the messages come, the other thing too, I ask questions to my higher self all day long. And I also start my day out. Both of us start our day out in a very high vibe way. So we are very routine. Like even when we go to a restaurant, we order the same thing, right? Over and over again. We're very routine. Like we get up in the morning, we work out, we have a high vibrational breakfast, which is an Asea bowl or a smoothie or something of that nature. So we're already in a higher vibration because we're moving. The energy is moving. You cannot get the energy moving sitting behind a chair all day.
Yeah.
Right. So if you feel like your mind is stagnant and your life is stagnant, get up and start moving. You have to move your body. That's going to get the energy moving. And when you start moving your body, the other thing too, when you're sitting all day long or you're sedentary, your mind gets that way. So of course it's going to be cloudy. And I know you're a huge proponent, obviously, on detoxing. So you have to move the body to move the energy. So the more you move the body, the more you move the energy, the more you're going to be able to start tapping into your intuition. The more that you start listening and trusting your intuition, the easier the messages are going to come to you. The easier the messages come to you, then your direction becomes a lot more fluid because you're trusting what is coming to you.
If you look at from the perspective of, again, mindset, so at a personal level, my mindset is, well, so I'm really not 100% clear of why we're here. I'm not exactly 100% clear of who created us. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to focus all my energy and all that and all the science, whether it's like a fifth density, a fifth dimension, or what, who cares, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to work, I'm here, and I'm going to explore every aspect of why I'm here. And so when I pivoted my mindset towards that, I love getting up early in the morning, Catherine, like 5 o'clock in the morning sometime, because I want to explore. What has life got for me today? What or wherever I'm at, this mysterious place, whether I'm in a bubble, a flat earth, a no earth, or whatever, what does this mysterious place have in store for me? And I can choose to say, oh, wow, just wallow in the misery of not knowing what it has in store for me, or be an explorer. So I choose to be an explorer. And evidence has shown me the more and more I explore, the more and more I manifest. You see what I mean? So I really want to tell people, like, when you think about it, don't get caught up on the intricacies of, like I said, whether it's a density we're in or a dimension or a flat earth. Look, I'll put it in perspective. If everything was a flat earth, how did that even change your life? Like, what's it going to do for you? What does it help you? If it's a round earth, how does it help you? So let's not focus on things that we have zero control over, is number one, and spend so much energy on. focus in on what we can control, because that's really what we got. We haven't known, which is our energy, our entity, our physical being. We wake up in the morning. Do we feel good? If not, then how do we fix that? Do we change our nutrition? Those are the things we know we have to do. We have to focus in on those things. And when you do that enough times, it's not always the easiest thing. Granted, it isn't, but it is something that if you choose you want to live, right, then those are the things you want to do. Otherwise, you're just kind of, you're just, a pawn in existence, I guess.
I think too, the other thing is everybody's waiting for this magic fairy wand to come and put it magically. You're going to wake up one day in this 5D consciousness, this 5D reality. That is not going to happen. The only way that you are going to raise your consciousness or go from 3D to 4D to 5D is by you doing it yourself, by you doing the things that we're talking about, by you bettering your life, by you taking the steps, the action steps to get you to the higher levels of consciousness. I think there's a huge misconception, Catherine, about 5D. A lot of people think that it's a place that you're going to get to. It's not. In essence, yes, it is, because it's your consciousness. So 3D, 4D, 5D, these are levels of consciousness. So you're going to get to these places, yes, as you raise your frequency and better your life and better yourself. But for people that are constant, I went out to dinner with friends the other day that were here on vacation, and they're like, oh my gosh, the world, that, the energy is changing, and can't you feel it? And all this is happening. I said, it's happening because you're creating it. You're making it happen. You're feeling it because that's how your world is changing. So yes, the energy of the planet is raising, the frequency is raising because you're raising your own frequency. You're raising your own frequency. I'm raising my own frequency. So collectively, yes, it feels like the energy of the planet is raising, but it's not that way for everybody. Not everybody feels that.
This is the key point I want to raise up on. It's such an important point, April. We've only got to see, you can have 30 of you in the same party or the same conference, and you'll all experience it very differently. And there's a reason for that, because your starting point and your focus is all different. And what your starting point is and what your focus is going to have a huge impact on what you experience and what you bring into your reality.
Absolutely. Everything is perspective. So your perspective could be totally different than my perspective, and my perspective could totally be totally different from somebody else's. So where someone sees the world as a prison planet, I don't see that. And I certainly don't.
Cool. There's no way they'd have put this many cats on there if there was a prison planet. I mean,
exactly.
Animals to that, that's so interesting you say that, because animals to me is true proof that there was not these nasty people that put us here, because why would they give us that much love?
Exactly.
I mean, that to me in and of itself, that one thing, if you would, does it. But I would say honestly, like, the more, just some steps, right, to help people, the more and more, and this is ever going, because we all do it, but the more and more I learn and be conscious of when I'm judging something or someone, the better I get at the manifestation too. So for example, if I don't believe in a certain way, I don't be like, before, like all of us, we're like, look at that crazy nut job, right? Now I think about it, well, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, that just really is their stream of consciousness. And you know what? Just because it's not mine, it's not me to judge. And if they feel like they are Jesus Christ incarnate, or they're Mary Magdalene, or they're a commander of a galactic ship at night, and that's what gets them through, you listen, God bless you. Have fun with that ride. And really that's how I have to, and I'm really looking at it from that perspective, from the perspective of, again, not thinking like judging them like they're crazy, what's wrong with them, because what's right with all of us is always subjective, right? It's like we gotta figure out our own stuff. So and I think that, and those kind of thought patterns. So I think, and again, I'm practical tips, right, to help people with, is those are the tips that we find out are are really helping us even get more from what one calls the universe, because then we realize, you know, listen, that's just their gig. Let them do their own thing, have fun. That nobody's forcing us to spend time together or have to be surrounding in that. We just do our own thing, bless them on their way. It's their thing.
Brilliant. So I love this conversation. I hope you'll come back for more. I hope people are finding it useful, because for me, this is the crux of everything. Absolutely every single aspect of all of our lives relies on us just getting better and better and having more and more fun with this. So you both have some great ways of resources and ways people can work with you. Talk us through, how do people get in contact with you, and what have you got available for people that are really thinking, look, I'm ready to upgrade my life?
So, I guess me, right?
That's Jay.
So we created what's called the 5D economy. It's an academy, and it really does teach the principles in 3 to 4 minute videos, because everybody's, you know, mindset, right? It's just easy for people to do it. But it teaches you things like manifestation, the universal laws, right? Like, what are the universal laws? What are other people thinking? What are some of the questions that people ask that you're looking for the answers to? So we give these bite-sized wisdom nuggets, if you want to call them that way. And so people go through the academy, because what it does is this. Just stay with me on this, if you could, everybody. Is it kind of helps you hit the reset button again, gets you to an understanding of, I get it. Then what the academy is designed to do is to, you go back in there, and every day spend about 5 minutes before you start your day. Pick out whatever is drawn to you, whether it be the universal laws, whether it be manifestation, whether it be how to have my own show so I can stay in the present. You know, whatever that is drawn to you, just spend 3 to 5 minutes on those. It sets the vibrational tone for your day, because it's energy. You know, you don't you wake up and you're like, I get it. Next thing you know, you're already in that motion. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, imagine starting your day with a headache. You have to take an aspirin to wind it back down. It's kind of the same thing. It's like, start it where you don't have to have a headache, right? And then work it that way. So that's the academy we have. Which is they'll see a lot of ourselves, April, and answering questions that people asked of us. Then if they want to go further, they can always reach out to us. I'm happy to help. Catherine, you've known us long enough. I mean, if people want to have just a private complimentary consult to what's going on in your mind, and maybe in just a few minutes, I can help talk you through it and help give you a roadmap. I'm happy to help. So my email is my name, jaymatta@outlook.com, or they can contact
Yeah,
us directly
I'll
through the
make sure
website.
all the links are below the video and pinned in the comments, everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. And for us, we do it. That's manifestation. So just in its finest form, like when we're talking to people about manifestation, we're manifesting. It's a beautiful thing. And we want to help people really get in that rhythm of understanding what it's like to talk about, you know, like, you know, imagine, what if everything was really good? I mean, you know, like, talk about it from that perspective.
Absolutely love it. So I want anyone who's watching this, my call to action is, whatever it is you're not happy with in your life, do something about it today, because it doesn't have to be as difficult as people think it is. Does it, April?
Absolutely not. And I think that's been a big head trip that a big lie that we've all been told. It doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah.
It was never meant for us to come here to be hard. So start enjoying it. Start enjoying the moment. Start enjoying the little things in your life. And don't get attached to the outcomes. That's one of the hardest. Just let go of the outcome of it, and don't focus on the time, how long, because time is irrelevant, right? So if you're like, oh, well, it's going to take me so long, according to who?
Yeah.
Who said it's going to take you so long, right? You can speed all that up. Just focus on the things that make you feel good. Focus on the things that are going to raise your vibration. Start offering, giving gratitude. Again, that's the quickest way to snap out and raise your vibration. And act as if it's already manifest.
Yeah, it's so important. Catherine, if I may leave your audience with something that they can try and implement like right away, it's something called lofty questions, because often we're trained on, well, ask this, ask this, like, you know, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. Well, to make it happen, you have to internally believe that you want it. You have to believe it's possible. Lofty questions, what it does is it works with your subconscious mind, and it says to you, why am I the most successful business person in the world? Why am I so healthy? Why do I look 30 years younger? You start asking those questions as if it's already happened. At some point in time, I'm not a scientist, but at some point in time, that programming in your subconscious is going to click. So now what happens, the universe will never give you what you want. It'll give you who you are. So if you are the wealthiest person in the world, it'll give you more of that because you've internalized it, you've embraced it, you are it.
I think that's absolutely perfect. So our call out is don't wait. It doesn't matter whether you've just had a baby, whether you've got 3 jobs on the go, whether you're looking after a sick relative. Don't wait. Pick one thing today. Reach out if you need help. Both of us, April and Jay, just let us know what your Instagram is, because I'll put the links below, but just let the people know what your Instagram is, because you have some fantastic tips on that.
Thank you. It's 5D_mystics, 5D_mystics.
And mine is CatherineEdwards.life. So if you want quick little things to get you back up in that vibration, follow both of us there. Let us know in the questions below what you'd like us to talk about next time. And the most important thing is there, ask and have fun with the journey. Thank you both so much. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.